For decades, I've argued that one of the key reasons to leave the European Union was because of fishing. Not just because I'm a sea angler who now finds himself wrapped in so many EU rules I really question on the odd day off I get whether it's worth actually going, but of course because of what we've lost in terms of our own commercial fishing industry. And it's interesting, I said the day after the referendum that I thought fisheries would be the acid test of Brexit. Would we take back control of our territorial waters at the end of the Article 50 process? Well, here was, and it's interesting, so many other people now are talking about fishing, including the Prime Minister, who made a big thing of it in her speech today.
It ensures that we will leave EU programmes that do not work in our interests. So we will be out of the common agricultural policy that has failed our farmers, and out of the common fisheries policy that has failed our coastal communities.
Sounds great.
Instead, as the political declaration sets out, we will be an independent coastal state once again. We will take back full sovereign control over our waters, so we will be able to decide for ourselves who we allow to fish in our waters.
So what she's saying is, in the political declaration, which I called the child's wish list to Father Christmas, we were taking back control of our waters. Well, Jeremy Corbyn picked up on this point. He was not in the least bit convinced.
The President of France, President Macron, has already made clear what his priorities will be in negotiating Britain a future deal. On Sunday, he said, "We will concentrate our efforts in order to obtain access to the British waters before the end of the transition period. And, of course, all our fishermen will be protected." Isn't it the case that under the Prime Minister's botched deal, we will have to agree to those demands on access to waters and quota shares if we want to finalise a future trade deal or extend the transition?
Amazing. Other people, too, now think we should leave the CFP, including, and I almost couldn't believe it, the SNP have argued for years that it's better to stay in the CFP and argue from within. But Ian Blackford today, their leader, said this.
Here we are again, with another sellout to the Scottish fishing industry by a Tory government. Well, we've been here before. We were sold out by Ted Heath, and we've been sold out repeatedly by Tory governments.
Well, I'm delighted with that because I've battled hard with the SNP telling me I was wrong. So everybody agrees we've got to get back control of our fisheries. The Prime Minister says it's going to happen. She was ever so confident. Well, that was politicians. I'm going to go very quickly to a representative from the fishing industry, June in Lowestoft. June, good evening.
Good evening, Nigel.
Now, you run a fish market, is that right?
Yes, I run one of the last show auctions in Lowestoft on the east coast of England.
Yeah, so you must be thrilled when the Prime Minister tells you that we're leaving the common fisheries. It's great news for you guys, isn't it?
No, she's just lied and backtracked. The whole
Strong
2.5 years. That is all that woman has done. She's let us down very, very badly. I've been in negotiation talks with fishermen since Friday. Very sad. I had one young lad in tears that he'd just gone to the bank and borrowed some money. I think with Corbyn and the rest of the guys you were just mentioning, you know, do the EU demand and do they surrender their national resources for market access? No. Does any other nation give up fisheries access and resources? No. And I think with the help of you and other people, we've done a real strong battle this 2.5 years. We really have, you know, different fishing societies, UKIP, have been absolutely marvellous, and this has rubbed off onto other people, hence Labour, DUP. We all realise that those waters are so important. Basically, we have the crown, and we are throwing the emeralds and diamonds over there.
June, what happens? You know, 29th of March, we leave the European Union. What changes will you see in the industry the next day?
Well, it won't be. We leave. Then we'll just join back into the same thing. We need to get out of this, Nigel, quick, with a no deal.
Yep.
I know people look at the GDP of fishing and they'll say, I get it all the time, well, isn't he worth this? Isn't he worth that because we've allowed it to become so poor? 6.4 billion this will be worth to our economy. But there'll be skilled jobs, improving living standards, helping the deprived areas. The gravy train is massive. Well, why can't this woman see that?
Well, June, maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. But I think, frankly, the worst of it is she keeps pretending that it's all solved for our fisheries. And as you say, the day after we leave and enter transition, we're arguably in a worse place than we are now, because at the annual quota-setting negotiations, we won't even be there to fight our corner. June, thank you, and I'm sorry for the travails of your industry. And June used the word lying. I will just say duplicitous.